And don't want to fix it alone? Call RVFix to get virtual assistance from a certified technician today.
Hi, this is Kevin with RVFix. Today I just wanted to go over some common terminology you might hear when it comes to talking with us technicians over the phone or just in RV talk general. So to begin with, one thing you might hear a term tossed around is a dogbone. So when people are talking about that, they're just talking about an adapter for your power cord. This one I have specifically here is for a 50 down to a 30. It's just kind of the shape of it is usually why it gets referred to that. But like I said, if you're hearing that term, you know, we're just talking about an adapter, or that's what whoever's saying it, that's what they're talking about, just an adapter for your power cord. All right, another common term that you might hear getting tossed around when we're talking about things in your unit is galley. So it is a term that's borrowed from ships mainly, but it's just talking about the kitchen area of your unit. The biggest way it's usually used in RVs is they will have a galley tank, and that is when they separate your gray tanks out. They'll make one that's specifically just from the kitchen sink, and that's normally going to be labeled as your galley tank. So, all right, so another thing you might hear tossed around if you're in a bigger motorhome, there's the term air dump. So all that's talking about is just when you go to auto level the unit, most of the auto leveling on the bigger motorhomes will drain the airbags out to lower the motorhome down before the auto leveling takes over and lifts it back up to be more stable. All right, so another thing you might hear talked about are tank heaters. So if we're talking about tank heaters or you're hearing that mentioned, it is not the water heater. It's not heating your water coming into the unit, anything like that. It is something that is put on a unit that is there to help keep the holding tanks from freezing up. So your fresh tank, your black tank, your gray tanks, they can have a tank heater pad on there. It just keeps the water in there above freezing if you're using the unit in cold weather. All right, another common term you'll hear said a lot around RVs is going to be a short cord. So all we're talking about in that sense is going to be the power cord for your trailer. Whether it's a twist lock that has to be put on the unit and actually attached, or a short cord that's hardwired in, like on this motorhome where it's actually wired into the motorhome and does not come back off of it. All right, so another thing you might hear us talk about, especially when it comes to taking the batteries off the unit for winter, is trickle charging. So a trickle charge is just a very slow charge being put back into your batteries to help maintain them. The importance of that is going to be, depending on the type of battery you have, you don't want to let them just sit. They can discharge over time. If a battery gets too discharged, it can damage the cells inside of it. So a trickle charge, a lot of times is just going to be an actual trickle charger or a battery tender that you put on your batteries while they're sitting stored for the winter, and just helps, like I said, keep them maintained at a good voltage in there. So another thing with almost all newer RVs coming out nowadays, they're going to come with solar panels on them. So a term you'll hear us use a lot is going to be a charge controller. That's just what's keeping track of what the solar panels are actually doing. Now there is a lot of different sizes, shapes, brands of charge controller, but like I said, this is an example of one that we have on this motorhome. It's just sitting in there. So like I said, that's where your solar panel wiring is actually coming from the roof to that charge controller, and then the wiring from that charge controller is going to your battery. So it is a good thing to know in case we're looking for that. It's a good way to test if we have anything we think might be going wrong with the solar. All right, another term you'll definitely hear when talking with one of us can be a load center. So all we're talking about is going to be the combination of where the breakers and the fuses are stored on the unit. So right down here is what we would consider to be a load center, a breaker box, or a fuse panel. Like I said, load center is kind of just a term of them combined, but it's where your household breakers are at for the 120 volt side, and then your 12 volt fuses for everything running off of the battery. All right, one other thing you might hear us talking about if we're having problems with outlets is your GFCI outlet. So what that is your outlet that's going to be resettable. It's just like in your household. You normally have these in bathrooms or kitchen areas, but it's just the outlet that has the reset and the test button. So any outlets in this unit that are within 5 feet of water are going to be wired to this outlet right here. So say if our kitchen area is not working, your outside outlets aren't working, a lot of the times you just need to come and hit the reset button on that guy. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching. If this video didn't solve your problem, don't worry. We're here to help. Give us a call at 1-844-66-RVFix. We'll diagnose your issue quickly with a certified technician on a video call, get any parts and warranty processed, and if needed, we'll coordinate a service center or mobile technician to get you fixed. We'll handle it all so you can get back to camping.